this or Gravitas, but this is a big matchup.
Yeah, pretty much all the races that are being featured today are all races that have huge playoff implications. This one, no exception. Kakariko Brew Crew had to win yesterday's as well to even be in this situation. So we're off to the races, it looks like.
Yeah, so as you were saying, this is the last game that really has any major implications, or I think any implications even, on Open League playoffs. This is a win or go home situation for both teams.
Yep.
So I think pretty much the rest of the seeding and info has been decided at this point.
Yep, that is correct. For the Open League specifically, this is the only one left that really matters. I did catch a piece of heart at the beginning in Sanctuary, and they do have Blue Mail in Link's house.
Yeah, and I see Scruff is going for the Houlihan, while Will is going for the Saha play. I'm a big fan of the Saha play, usually. We'll see if the Houlihan pays out, though, because that's always, I feel like, a bit of a risk. And we get tier 1 as bombs, so that's a nice find.
It is, yeah. What has Bush Crabs got for us today? Oh, there was no Bush Crab. That's right. Atomizer.
Yeah, the league admins really having fun with the runners this season, saying not only are we doing co-op Atomizer the last week of the season, we're giving you boots. So all the bad stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, boots, great for running straight into Hinox that you don't expect, or diamond rollers, but also, like, it's nice to have because, like, there's so many opportunities to beef it in unfortunate places in this mode. Having the boots the entire time gives it a little bit more expediency.
Yeah, the idea of the humor of it all. I think we did see a bush crab, by the way, in the Lost Woods there. We didn't get to see too much from WindFox there because it looked like that red guard was kind of bullying, but I thought I saw red rupees.
It looks like that's 2 bottles right next to each other.
And I would definitely be telling my partner, you're getting both of the bottles. I don't care. You're getting them both.
And Fox being chased around by what the community likes to call an Usain Bolt because they're just so fast.
Yeah, you cannot move diagonally near those guys because they will catch you. We are getting a green pendant read from Saha, and it's Ice Palace today. And an interesting play from Will to start off here, getting 2 tier 1 tree pulls and using that to head into Hyrule Castle.
Does he have, like, a lot of bombs right now?
Yeah, he's up to 8 bombs.
Okay.
He did 2 tree pulls, so he's definitely got the bombs to get through this. The question is, what kind of enemies are we seeing?
Yeah.
So get a Bari in the first room. That's not too bad. Haven't really seen too much out of Blind Spot. I do see we did get enough money for the bottle vendor, so that's good. While Scruff is down at South Shore.
Scruff also hasn't found any weapons, right?
No, it looks like just has up to 9 bombs already, so enough to get through this. We do see that red rang. And
that was a Moon
bombs.
Pearl. Yep, there was a Moon Pearl in the well. WindFox about to pick that up as well. I'm just always worried about taking the South Shore route with Mini Moldorm because you get 5 enemies in there.
And there's another piece of our Dark World kit from the well. We got the hammer.
Yeah, and Will, unfortunately, having to save and quit out of the front of escape. There was a Gibdo. No way you're going to kill that efficiently.
Yeah. And at this point, Will is aware, you know, hey, the hammer's in Kakariko. And we got a really nice chicken hut, by the way.
Oh, is it the default? Yeah.
3 chickens in a pot.
Perfect.
A skull pot enemy. That's really quite nice.
Yep. Mini Moldorm looks like it came out as a bust, but the enemy layout in there was actually pretty smooth. It was just 2 Mini Moldorms and then 2 Mini Helmasaurs.
Yeah, the early blue males are a nice find to have. Now, Will is coming up from the south, going to be able to tell Sokol, you know, do we need it? No. So Sokol should be able to save and quit here. Although, is continuing to... Okay, there we go.
Oh, Is he? Oh, he's going to grab maybe bombs first? Nah. He thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a weapon at this point, so not too bad.
Will just speed through the rest of this, probably grab that moon pearl. I forget if there was something super important in Blind's hut, but he'll also probably go up to Lost Woods and get those bottles.
Yeah, I know we got the 300 and the pearl and the hammer, and it looks like that's all Will's gonna get at this point. I think we did get another bottle elsewhere, so might not be prioritizing those 2 bottles.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like we
Will...
got a sword out of... Yeah, we have a sword out of Ice Rod Cave, it appears.
Interesting. Taking the risky water walk and Enemizer. It's always fun.
I was going to say, I just from my own personal practice for this week and the time spent, working on it, I actually am of the same mind as Scruff on this play. I really like this. It's easier to water walk around these enemies and get to these plays than it would be if you were just doing a fake flipper. So I love that play from Scruff.
Yeah. Especially with the boots, because then you can navigate a little bit easier.
Yeah, and he has that sword as well, so
yep.
Really, the safety of it all. And yeah, that is not a terrible mini Moldorm cave. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be a fan of the mini Helma or mini Moldorms in some regards, and having to do this with Hammer, Sokol really being given the business here.
Yep. Will is going into Eastern Palace still without a weapon.
He does have the hammer.
He does have the hammer. Okay.
Yeah, he did get hammer and pearl out of the well before heading into Eastern, so not too terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean,
honestly, are spooky though.
We are looking for one thing. Glove kind of gives us what we need at this point. Although that Lionel really, Will just having to get around it.
Yep. Sokol did take a death, or he fell down. He hit a fairy. So he's doing fine now.
Will trying to get a little bit of magic, maybe thinking, hey, if I get something important here, it really is going to help out. But yeah, it looks like WindFox might give us that important piece of information next. Because Will so far hasn't really found anything in Eastern. So this is the play, at least I think from what we know is available.
Yeah, and that Gibdo's going to be a little bit easier to take down with the hammer than 8 bombs, according to Tabby Cat. I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, just 4 quick hammer strikes takes down that. We have a lamp. On Will's side as well. As Scruff and Wind.
Okay, so that makes sense to me. I was looking at the tracker and the lamp was lit up. I was like, Will doesn't usually go this way without the lamp. I was like, that's risky. Maybe he's going to use the cape to get through dark rooms? Nah, he's had the lamp.
And just some arrows. But with that lamp, Will is going to take a shot here at getting through Eastern Palace. Or not.
No, or not. He just leaves. Maybe he didn't want to risk going to the back. I'm not sure if he found the compass in there. So maybe he doesn't know what's back there.
Check. If you're unfamiliar with the new Enemizer settings, with this most recent update, there was an additional setting that if you find the compass, you can do a map check and it'll tell you who the boss is of the dungeon.
Sokol taking a different route through the water, because I don't think Scruff did this, right?
No, I don't believe we got to see this play. Now, WindFox is heading to Dark Cross at this point.
I think that was a nice rod.
Yeah.
What's Dark Cross got for us today? Nothing.
Yeah, we did get that ice route on the hobo, but I didn't. So the question is really what I have to say it.
Agina?
No, I wasn't gonna go there. You
Uh,
were right at the start.
oh, wait, was I? I didn't think what I
Yeah,
missed.
I don't think it's Agina.
Oh,
I think it's Aghanim.
oh, that's what you
We've
meant by
got
the
a
start.
sword, a cape, and a lamp and a pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can still go for the Agina play, but that is the Aga kit.
Yeah. So maybe they send one person there and then both do Aghanim at the same time. Because at least with the hammer, you can split up some duties going into the Dark World simultaneously. One person can make their way over to Pod with that lamp as well.
Well, and the one thing I would suggest here is I don't know exactly how far Scruff and Windfox had already gone on this Hyrule Castle play. I think for Will, there's a great chance this is an Aga seed, but can we break Sokol out a bit?
Yeah.
You know, I would tell Sokol, hey, go into the front of Escape, steal the key off the first blue guard, and go all the way to back of Escape. You know, can it be a... Is there something in the back of Escape that breaks us out of this a little bit?
True. Let's see what
This
they
is the...
do.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's nothing in Zelda's cell, so if you steal that key and make this kind of play, you could save your partner some time.
Well, Will's going south now. I forget what was down here that he needs to grab. Oh, the sword. Kind of need that for Aghanim.
Yeah, and it looks like Sokol's making the same play, saying, I need the cape from Sahasrahla.
Yeah, and then wherever the lamp was, maybe. I'm not sure if he's grabbed the lamp. Oh, Will. I think Will has a fairy. Oh
No,
no.
he didn't get the Lost Woods bottles.
Yeah, 3-heart blue mail, still not a lot when there's Lionels down there.
Yeah, and Scruff is going after this Eastern Palace boss. I did not catch who it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we could have, because I don't remember them getting a compass. Will
And
making good use of the cape.
yeah,
Like,
I don't
nope.
blame him there. Oh, and Lamp was our Uncle Chest. So yeah, this is
Okay.
Sokol going right for Aga, it looks like.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Those
this is
little red guys.
really scary. But yeah, we'll see if Sokol and Will have decided to maybe try to send him to the back. Or find his way there. We do get a Helmasaur King on Eastern Palace, so Scruff giving us some good old bomb Helma strats. But unfortunately, out of bombs, so gonna have to leave.
Yeah, I think
For
that's
no
what
real
Will was
advantage.
trying to avoid. Yeah, because I think Will must have found 3 items, and then it was like, it's not worth trying to go back and find out it's a Trinex. Always
And
go
yes,
back later.
unfortunately, Scruff had not been to Kakariko Village yet, so was not equipped with a hammer either.
Well, at
Now,
the very least,
Will...
information gained.
I was gonna say,
Um,
Will, I was about to say, going for those bottles before the Aga play, it looks like, as Sokol is our first player into Aga Tower.
It looks like WindFox is going to be right behind.
Yeah, we'll see how bad this Aga Tower is. And yeah, we've definitely seen a wide range of seeds this week. We've seen some absolutely dreadful ones, and, you know, some being a lot kinder. This one is not pulling its punches so far.
Yeah. Particularly with the enemy layouts.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of mini Moldorms, which overall wouldn't be too bad, but our runners, you know, very different situations of sword or no sword. And we have seen quite a few Lionels on South Shore, and until we get Tempered Sword, we are not able to dash through them. But Scruff now into Aga Tower, and it looks like Will is going to be our last of the 4 runners into Aga Tower at this point. So yeah, this looks to be an Aga Seed.
Everyone's in agreement. Oh yeah, and someone did do Agina, so that was done. Just grabbing some extra money before going in.
Well, and then the question becomes, after we get through this Aga play, how do you want to
Imagine you
approach
I would imagine
Dark
you send
World?
one person south, because to go through the Hammerpegs, do Hype Cave, Stumpy, all that, and then one person goes in the Eastern Palace, because we do have Hammer and the Lamp, and the only thing we can't do in Pod is basically the boss. Logically, not the right side, but those red Igors, they're not going to be there.
Yeah. Always an important thing to remember about this mode is that kill rooms will not have weapon-specific enemies in it. So while you could see an Igor or a Mimic, they would always be the green variety. Red varieties will not show up in kill rooms. More commonly, you'll see stuff like Shadows, mini Moldorms, mini Helmas. But Sokol is up to Aga, so here we go with Dark World access on the line.
The few non-randomized portions of this game, the Aghanim fights and Ganon fight, all the other bosses could be anywhere, wherever, but not these will stay the same.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this mode, it is Enemizer. So the enemies themselves are pretty much completely random. But the bosses is what we call a full shuffle. With that, it means that the bosses can be anywhere, but there are still guaranteed 3 doubles. So 3 of our bosses will be repeats, but each boss should show up once. There are some rare hiccups to the randomization of the bosses. For example, if you get through a seed and let's say the fight we haven't placed is Moldorm 2, a boss that can't go there would be something like Trinex or Blind. So that means those dungeons could just not have, we might not see a Trinex.
Yeah, exactly. There's certain platform-based battles where only, I think it's 5 different enemies can appear on the top of Ganon's Tower or at the top of Tower of Hera. It's just like Mothula, Cold Stare, and a couple others.
Yeah, now Sokol is into Dark World. Will did take a death, but did have that bottle, really helping him out there. And just $20 on the pyramid.
All right, and let's see what Kakarika Brew Crew decides to do for splitting up of duties. Like Sokol's gonna do Pod.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't go for the dense play south first. I don't hate this play at all, but I am a bit surprised.
Yeah, I think it's... I couldn't guess as to why. Or I guess I could guess as to why, but it might be just because this is a bit of a longer check and gives Will just a little bit more time to catch up.
Yeah.
Something you want to try to aim for is having more like asynchronous like splitting of duties. So having Sokol do the slower one gives Will a chance to like get to a point where the next call they have to make happens at the same time.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's just a question of like the Hype Cave, Stumpy, and Dig Game. That's 7 items, really pretty quick to get to. And worst case, Sokol could have checked those probably before Will had finished Aga Tower, and then they could meet at Pod. And that's the only reason I'm curious of the other strategy.
Yeah, we did get a map check there. I'm pretty sure it was green on ice. We already knew that. And then there was a pendant on Swamp Palace, and I think another one that was on Thieves Town.
Yeah, and it does look like our second red crystal is Turtle Rock, so unlikely to need the pyramid today, but you never know.
Hype Cave kind of hype with a mirror, which is very nice for the South Dark World routing. Very convenient place to find it. Also a Quake in there.
And this south of the Grove by Stumpy is not exactly great either. We're starting to see rollers and chomps.
Oh boy. It does look Scruff is also going to clear out Hype Cave behind WindFox and will probably turn around and go back to pod. Or maybe not now that they have a bow.
Yeah, and the big thing here for Farm Friends is just one of them can just, at this point, you just go and clear this out and then save and quit and you're back to the pyramid.
Yep. So hopefully there's a second bow to bail Sokol out here, because otherwise it's going to be a double dip.
Well, and realistically, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what kind of boss situation we get from this one.
You still need the bow to get to the boss, though.
Well, and what I mean is
Oh,
maybe the bow is just giving us the logical access through the dungeon.
Right.
Rather than like some kind of...
There's a statue in the back that you always have to have the bow for.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Scruff doing some spin speed there through a swath of enemies.
Yeah, nice little movement there for sure.
Neither member of Farm Friends opting for catfish. They're both in agreement. We're doing pod. Same time.
We can't do catfish, actually.
Oh, we don't have the gloves.
Yeah, this is the hard part always. You talk to a lot of runners and they'll say, oh yeah, catfish, I've got the hammer, I can get north, but there's always those liftable rocks that kind of give us some issues the rest of the way.
Yep, just that one rock. Yep. So Sokol should know that the bow is not in here, so he's probably going to keep going, and then Will probably come back.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we know there's going to be... I think we know progression has to be here in Palace of Darkness. So really your goal is just let me finish what I can. And I would just hope that the progression is here.
Yeah.
In the front, and that doesn't really delay my ability to do something else. And Sokol trying for the bomb throw here, but really the BMOS is just not cooperating.
So let's see if Sokol makes the choice to go get the bow just to clear things out. Nope, gonna take another shot.
Yeah, and I think you have that red boomerang. I think you should be trying to throw that one over to the left. I think that's going to be an easier shot than trying to do this bomb throw.
Yeah, I think he just made a mistake doing that. Like, he hit the switch or forgot to jump down and realized, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, those skulls hurt. I was worried about that when I saw it.
Yeah. And we talked about this at the beginning. This is this is for your season at this point as a team, and you got to imagine nerves are going to run high on this one.
Yeah, across both teams. We talked with multiple members from both teams, and nerves definitely running high for this one. Both teams really want this.
Yeah, the joys of the Open League, where only top 2 teams from each division make the playoffs.
All right, our first look at Rupee Room.
And there's Death Mountain.
Yep.
And a lot of Death Mountain at that.
Yeah, Mirror, Hammer. That gives you pretty much everything up there except for Dark World.
And honestly, at this point, I would... It stinks that Sokol doesn't have the ability to go after the boss. But I gotta believe there's a decent chance we have a boss we can't kill.
I mean, that would work out very well for Sokol if it turns out to be like a Trinex or something like that. Like, okay, cool. Now I know I can save this for later. I'm not getting harmed too much by not having the bow.
And Sokol utilizing those bombs. If you're unaware, Hinox, one bomb is enough to kill them.
Yep. Same with the floating skulls too.
Oh, wait, this boss is killable. We have a Vitreous here in the Palace of Darkness.
Do we want to do Vitreous? With a fighter sword and no half magic, and I think both Will and Sokol have like exhausted their bottles. I don't know what's happened. I don't think I've seen any unfortunate deaths coming from farm friends just yet.
I want to say I did see at least one. Yeah, the bow makes this fight at least reasonable. Depends on how practiced you are on it, but it's not... I think it's still possible. But yeah, there we go. A dungeon striking again. That arena is just not the best.
Yeah. Will's going to go for it. It does look like he has 30 arrows, so... That's my eyes deceive me. Sokol, yeah, Sokol going to go get the mirror, the quake, probably the bow, and then probably go up the mountain.
Also getting that full magic refill. So, you know, we
At least
have the greatest resource of Enemizer, I think, this week, the MVP item, the cape.
You know, this still will work out okay for Sokol having to leave that dungeon early because they're gonna have to go back for Eastern Palace anyway, so it's just a matter of routing in the two bosses together. Unless there's something extremely important, like right now on Pod, but with all of Death Mountain, probably not.
I gotta say, nice use of Quake, by the way, by Will. Kind of the unsung hero medallion.
I mean, it's got its uses. It's no bombos in this mode, but it can get you through a couple rooms pretty quickly. Okay, he does have a red potion, so he can take at least one more hit.
Yeah, and if you can just get through this portion, I fully expect Will to be able to take down Vitreous the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Dodging lightning and eyeballs. Oh my gosh, this is a scary fight.
Just also got to be careful with arrow management here, because, yeah, okay, so Will's aware that they're low on arrows. Okay, it should be clear sailing from here. Go. Oh. Swamp Palace is a pendant, so we might not need those flippers.
And I wouldn't even care that they exist right now. I would still say, you know, mountain is the thing. I don't think we have much else to worry about yet.
Yeah. Like, those could become important, so let's just hope not for Kakariko Brew Crew's sake. Meanwhile, Farm Friends, I think both of them are about to get through the fight pretty... Ooh. Oh, don't almost made me eat my own words.
This is, like, Vidi is a not terrible boss fight in this room, but the spike the spikes along that top wall are very deceptive in what they can do to the hitboxes.
Yeah, not only that, but like Vidi can bounce off it in a weird way that you don't expect. So if you're a little bit too close, he may just bounce into you from there.
So yeah, this is Will just taking care of the back. He did the front portion of Pod into the boss.
Yeah, might as well while you're here. Or not. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, just the fact that we have the Aga kill.
And finally, there's our glove.
So at this point, the only real difference in our loadouts or current progression or what's been done is just, Brew Crew deciding to split up after the Aga kill with Sokol going into pod, unfortunately caused Sokol to miss a bow. Whereas Farm Friends, WindFox going directly to Hype Cave after Aga was able to get that information to Scruff about the location of a bow. So both Farm Friends members able to get that pod clear.
And the only real advantage Kakariko has at this exact second is just information. They're up on the mountain right now, but they're right next to each other, so they're not really splitting up duties at the moment. So they've got that little bit ahead on them, but yeah, Sokol having to go through pod again is kind of the only real big difference. Okay, we do have a compass in Tower of Hera, so who's the boss? It's just Moldorm.
Definitely take advantage of having a vanilla boss once in a while. And here's the divergence for Brew Crew. Will's like, I got my glove. That's Village of Outcast access. Let's just go for it.
Yep.
Or is this Catfish into Zora?
Catfish. Oh, yeah. That is a play you can make. Sokol definitely going up the tower. He did choose not to do the bomb jump, probably because of the BMOS, the Hera pot. He chose not to do because there was a BMOS right there.
Well,
So
no hook shot.
Oh, and no hookshot. That would also do it. I saw him go up like as if he was going to do it, and then he turned around.
And yeah, we did have a compass just on that eastern boss. Ooh, red mail.
That's a very nice find. So I doubt any runner's going to miss that.
Yeah, and I think just based on the two runners for Brew Crew, I definitely see a little bit of added comfort for Sokol. That's going to be just that feeling of, hey, I can get around a little better now.
Yeah. Help ease that that stress in this final match. All right, Catfish, what do you got for us today? Yeah. Some money.
I might have actually still picked up that money just because of the fact that, like, we have just about enough money to do Zora.
Yeah, exactly. Will taking the time to refill those bottles with some fairies. Is that 7 eyes on a Moldorm today?
Yes, that is quite the numerous-eyed Moldorm, and Moldorm, even with 7 eyes, still takes no prisoners. But here we go. Does Zora have something today?
Nope. Just takes 480 rupees from us. Down goes Moldorm. So that does look like there's going to be an item in the basement, because we did see all the keys, the map, and the compass. So
Yeah, we did get small key, big key map, and compass, and just one item, so... Oh, we're getting back of escape now from Will, so definitely starting to strike out some of these extra checks. Unfortunately, nothing paying out anywhere with these.
Sokol making the call to go into the basement. I think this is curious because I would almost want to do the rest of the mountain first, and then if you find nothing, that's when you come back and maybe do the basement of Hera. Otherwise, save it until like you can safely do like Spike Cave with it or something like that.
Yeah, I'd look at like East Death Mountain and come back for a Hera in Spike Cave.
Yeah, because you have to climb the mountain again anyway. You're gonna go down through Spiral Cave and you're gonna come up through Paradox. So
WindFox giving us Spike Cave though, just some bombs, so not required. And we'll see how Wind handles this now after doing that. Are we going to get a Village of Outcasts? No, right back up the mountain. So Farm Friends is really, gonna just playing for the idea that whatever is the next step is on the mountain, while we're seeing a nice bit of divergence from Brew Crew. We'll see if it pays out, though.
yeah, I do like the divergence. I am curious to the call for the mountain. Like that, this feels like a gamble, if anything else.
I'll be very curious to see if Wind... Okay, Wind is actually leaving the mountain, it turns out.
Sokol going down through Paradox.
Interesting.
I haven't seen this before.
Will seeing another Lionel. They are just everywhere today, as well as a Beamos.
Hey. The two chests, there were just 2 pieces of heart for Paradox.
And I believe that was a vanilla blind.
He's a vanilla blind with no script.
Yeah, and we've already gotten the small key as well, so that does mean we are going to have 3 items in the back of Thieves Town. Well, non-script blind, yes, but we have a cape.
Oh, that's true. And Sokol will have Samaria for it, which he just found in the center chest of Paradox.
And Will's got half magic, so even better for that blind fight.
And it does look like Sokol's remembering that he needs to do Spiral Cave, so he's going back up. This will deny him the ability to go back into Hera or Spike Cave efficiently.
He did do Hera.
Oh, he did do Hera, so just Spike Cave is getting orphaned, which is fine, as we know. It's just bombs.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't spend the extra time to go through that one.
Did find half magic somewhere. I missed that.
That was our last chest in, or one of our chests in the front of Thieves.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so this blind fight, really just a formality. Easy enough, just for a piece of heart. So that's 2 items. We do have still 2 in the back of Thieves. WindFox finding a heart container on the bumper ledge.
Yep. Taking the time to get that, which, again, this is Enemizer. You take whatever safeties you get. That 1 heart could make a big difference at some point.
Yeah, I'm still surprised by the time investment for it. Not opposed to it completely. It's just the extra time of going up and into Bumper Cave.
Yeah.
So Sokol is skipping Spike Cave, though, and as we said, it's not a bad play. It works out nicely. Doesn't need to go do it.
What I would imagine would happen here, since Will's already kind of clearing out Thieves Town, there's the half magic in there. Maybe Sokol goes in for that, but otherwise I would imagine he's going to hop right into Skullwoods to see if Will needs to do that.
Yeah, I would see a Skull Woods into probably North Dark World, similar to what WindFox is doing, giving us
Yep.
Graveyard Legend, King's Tomb. And WindFox does have the Master Sword now. And oh my gosh, there is a fire bar right there at King's Tomb. And just our other boomerang. So
Did WindFox go straight to Bumper Ledge, or did they do Skullwoods at all?
I don't. I think Scruff's giving it our first look at it.
Okay. Small keys so far.
And WindFox also going for that back of escape play we saw on Will's side. Unfortunately, nothing here, but
Okay, so they can't. Well, they couldn't do the boss here anyway because they don't have the fire rod. But also, it's Cold Stare.
yeah, that's kind of a scary proposition now. When do you want to make that kind of play? Or what kind of extra equipment are you hoping for to make that fight?
Yeah, that's not a fun one. I mean, Will's all set to do it if he chooses because like once he gets the fire rod, because he's got those 2 fairies on him.
Oh, Will
Ooh.
finding the hook shot. That is Swamp Palace now.
Yeah, and if it's anything like the race yesterday, as soon as we had Swamp Palace access, in we went. But it's a pendant today, so that's not fun.
Well, and I think for Will at least, this it's a play that makes sense. He's the runner with the flippers.
Yep.
We know that our runners need that hook shot, or I'd be shocked. I mean, I believe WindFox can hover, but I mean, it's looking more and more likely that this is a seed that requires Swamp Palace, and that's where Will's going.
Yeah, and this is good information for Will to get anyway, because like this helps Will know or Sokol know how soon do I need to go to pod. Can I leave it for like way later, or do I need to go there now?
Now, here, I do see an interesting question, or discussion now happening in chat of when do you go back for it? Or when do you go into Thieves Town for this play? We're going to see the front of Thieves Town, I think, from at least Farm Friends. I would be shocked to not see that. But I'd be equally shocked. Like, I think they're going to get railroaded into having to do Swamp soon. So I gotta think Thieves Town back isn't gonna evade them for too long. This is going to be, I think, a short-lived advantage for Team Kakariko Brew Crew.
Yeah, they're doing Catfish right now, and then yeah, I think WindFox is probably about to hop into Thieves Town right now.
Yeah. Like, maybe we see Scruff go into Zora or Swamp Palace without Hookshot. But eventually they're gonna get locked. Like, and with 3 items in the back, 2 of them being not behind blind, I would be absolutely stunned to not see a play into the true back of Thieves Town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen that way too. Sokol cleaning up the North Dark World checks as we expected.
Yeah, gonna get that Master Sword, so continuing to get a little stronger all the time.
There's King's Tomb, and then Sokol really doesn't have much else to do after that other than some catch-up work. So it's probably going to be go get that hook shot and half magic, and then by then will know. Swamp Palace probably has to be the answer at this point, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have any other options, honestly.
Yeah, so I think now it's going to be Will leading Sokol a little bit, which is going to be a little bit problematic because you want to divvy out that work and you don't want one person doing all the checks, essentially. Whereas Farm Friends, they're going to be doing things pretty close to simultaneously. They'll have a little bit more opportunity to divvy out the work.
So here's that play for Farm Friends, by the way. So I don't disagree with this play, you know. For Scruff, it's like, I don't like the idea of both of us being in Thieves Town right now when we don't know, so I should be heading into Swamp without Hook. And I agree with the play. The problem is, we know where Hookshot is, and WindFox is not going to be able to give that information to Scruff for a little while.
Yeah. Will making the very smart call. He was setting up for a diver down, but then made the call to check real quick. What is down there? It's a bunch of yellow spikes. There's no diver down happening today.
Yeah, not a chance. Yeah, you would hate to get locked by that. But WindFox finishing up blind. Will he go back in? He is going back in, so we will see the hook shot on Farm Friend's side, not too far behind. Sokol also heading into Thieves Town for his hook shot. So it's going to be interesting. Kakariko Brew Crew unfortunately losing some time on the play for Sokol not having the bow and pod. Scruff is going to lose a bit of time by not being able to go do all of Swamp Palace.
They'll at least have at least only one person is going to be doing left side swamp. So, or we'll know if both people need to go. So they're at least getting that information out of this. So I don't think it's as big of a loss for them, rather than having them both in here at the same time and having one person go left. He'll go left side, figure out that there's nothing there or something important is there, and then leave, get the hook shot, and then just have to do the back. And the back is quick.
And luckily for Scruff, not having the hook shot means no consideration for that diver down play. So won't even have to be like, oh, you're right, I don't have the tools to necessarily do that.
Yeah.
But here's left side, we get the big key. And a piece of heart.
Well, unless there's something... The first one was the big key, right? Yeah. So hopefully there's nothing super important there. So we see less of a left side swamp.
Yeah, not having to deal with these spikes again would be nice.
Something very important in this mode is knowing where all the little heart locations are. Keep yourself topped off as often as you can.
So WindFox hitting the big chest first, and then we'll be making his way over to the Maiden's Cell for that hook shot, right as Scruff is heading towards left side.
Yep. The left side will be a little bit... Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, going to be a little bit of a feels bad moment, but no real avoiding it. I don't disagree with the route.
Yeah, especially hookshot also speeds up the left side because you can hookshot over that gap. Scruff's going to have to go up and down once. Anything in here, have we?
I don't think so. And the question is, what is our progression at this point?
Helm of Sword, that's our second one. How many items did we find in Skull Woods? Was it just the one, or did we find two in there?
I do remember the bug net. I don't remember if we got anything else, though.
Yeah, okay, so Sokol and Will realizing it's whatever it is, it's probably right here on King Helm's Sword. They're making the call for Sokol to go get his stuff.
Yeah, I think we have no other options, so... Now, Scruff has cleared out that back portion, or that left portion of Swamp Palace. Going to be able to tell Wind, hey, you don't have to do it. And there, you're right, there's the Titan's Mitts.
Yep.
Now the question is, if you're Kakariko Brew Crew, do you tell Sokol to finish off Eastern Palace as well while he's here with the Master Sword?
It would almost be. I would almost not want to have Sokol finish it off. Save it for later. We just need to get the information so we can know when to start skipping things. Because otherwise, Will's just going to be doing everything by himself for a little bit.
Well, and the only reason I bring this up is because I feel like Sokol is falling a bit behind as it is. And do you want to have, I think leaving Will to do a few extra checks, as we do find out it's Bombos for Misery Mire.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It's a tough decision.
Yeah. It really comes down to Will could be doing something like gosh, Will doesn't have the Samaria.
Well, and
So
I think at this point, you might send Will back up, maybe do Desert Palace into a DDM.
there really aren't that many great options outside of that because the dungeons we can't really do a lot of. Turtle Rock, maybe we could do the first few checks, depending on what the medallion is. Can't do anything in Ice Palace.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this becomes very much a pick 'em kind of situation of dungeons. You pick the wrong dungeon and it's a Trinex with the compass, and you're using time that you can't get back. This is the difficulty of this mode by far, is just, sometimes you pay for a decision that's good that just doesn't work.
Yeah. So that was our second Moldorm that we just saw in Desert Palace. So that's two of our pairs that we've seen so far.
Sokol taking down the little eyes, going now on the big eye. And wow, that eye was getting close, but does take down Viddy.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the spikes before. Sometimes it just propels Viddy a little bit more forward than you expect. So, but it all worked out fine.
And I believe that's a full medallion set now for Will.
Got all the gold doubloons.
And Will heading back for the boss, which is a Moldorm. So that's our second double. Yeah, I do believe we got Ether Medallion out of Mire Shed. Let me double check that, just in case I am speaking incorrectly. I do see some people saying Pedestal is dead. We actually can't say that.
Yeah, Ped is pretty much still in play, especially because we can do Ice Palace now with that Bombos.
Yeah, there's a couple things the Ped could be. I'm not a big fan of Ped alive or what is Ped, but the rods are both possible. With Boss Shuffle, there are some really interesting scenarios where, as long as Ice Palace is in a Trinex and there is a Trinex somewhere else in the sea that's required kill, we could run into one of them. So there's some options.
Yeah, if there's anything important there, it's probably the Fire Rod. Dreaded Moldorm without his pit, not that much of a threat.
Yeah, this was an unfair fight. So Will giving us that Desert Palace clear, and I really like how this plays worked out for the Brew Crew. I don't disagree with WindFox heading up to DDM. Unfortunately, not having Ether or Bombos Medallion, so gonna be a little limited on Dark Death Mountain plays depending on our TR Medallion.
Right. But at the very least, this is good for routing for WindFox because they'll be able to at least get the Samaria while they're up here all in one go. But yeah, not going to be able to consider Turtle Rock potentially. We'll see. Super Bunny not giving us anything too important.
So, for those of you unaware, the way the co-op info share works is our two runners for each team are in a call with each other. So, Will and Sokol are in a voice call, as well as Scruff and WindFox. They are able to tell each other everything they find. They just can't watch any of the streams going on. And so it's just a question of, building that route as a team and saying, this is what I'm finding, what are you finding, and building the route from there.
Yeah. Pretty much no, very few tools are allowed. So again, they can't screen share or anything like that. I believe you can have like a shared like a Google Doc or something like that if you really wanted to, but I don't know anybody who actually does that.
Now, this is a curious play. I'm not gonna deny this one. Oh, are we getting just the hobo for Ice Rod? Okay.
Ice Rod, yeah, so that he can
Okay.
loop in Turtle Rock. Yep. Or just have it in case he runs into a Trinix.
So Sokol and Scruff coming up on this fight against Argus, and look at how this is kind of evened out a little bit.
Those two are mirroring each other. It's just a question of where do we send, because Will's already gotten some MIT checks done. WindFox is doing some MIT checks right now.
I gotta call some nice little luck there for Will getting that duck after getting B-most. But yeah, both Sokol and Scruff into that Helma fight. So the fact that Sokol did not have the bow early in the race, missed out on the flippers at the beginning, almost balances to the fact that Scruff had to do Swamp without Hookshot.
Yeah.
This is very interesting that the timing just goes that way. WindFox did get the shovel though, so we're going to get a new check.
Styling with the shovel as well. And it's our fourth bottle. Okay, Enemizer, take all the bottles you can get. Make that Ganon's Tower climb as non-stressful as possible.
Yeah, give me at least one sword first.
Yeah.
And yeah, I imagine for WindFox at this point, going to get that Ether Medallion and Bombos Medallion. And I have to assume we're going to get Meyer on WindFox's side.
Yeah. See, where do they send Sokol? Okay, Sokol's going to do some cleanup over here. Just trying to think what MIT checks can Sokol do that Will hasn't. Maybe something like Blacksmith Chain at some point.
I think we might see Sokol go do actually Meyer.
Ooh. That's right, because we're going to have all the medallions.
Yep. So I like the idea. Sokol doing Meyer, and I think Will makes a play into TR.
Turtle Rock, yep.
Yep.
And we'll see how far we get into TR, unless the Fire Rod is in its notorious location in the compass chest. We're going to have to hope for some good small key layout in the front.
Or not, because, that is, if you talk to a lot of runners, it becomes deceptively a time sink. How much, doing this dungeon without the Fire Rod and having to go back in.
Yeah. Unless Fire Rod's on Laser Bridge, you never know. It could also be it could also be a godsend. Yeah, it could also be a godsend. Like if you don't find the two Turtle Rock small keys in the front, you could be like, all right, I can put off Turtle Rock for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I don't know if the one team has the better route right now. Honestly, Farm Friends is giving us these overworld checks, which could be really helpful. We'll wait and see. While Will and Sokol are really hitting dungeons at this point. So we'll see which team really reaps the benefit of it.
Now, I would imagine Sokol will finish up Desert Palace, and then will have made it far enough into Turtle Rock. Is Fire Rod pretty much all we're really missing at this point?
Yeah, actually that is the case. We do know where at least that second sword is. Hoping to find a third before the end. But yeah, this is really a hunt for Fire Rod on both sides.
Okay, so I do like this specifically because Sokol can do Desert before doing Misery Mire, because if Will somehow finds Fire Rod in here, he can tell Sokol, hey, don't do the rest of Misery Mire. Like, just go find the big key. and then just do that rather than send Sokol in there first. Although I guess the flip of that would have been then Will could have just left Turtle Rock, but there's only 2 things in Misery Mire, so.
Yeah, and I'm really not sure at this point. You know, I think both teams, it is almost going to come down to who finds this Fire Rod first.
WindFox also choosing to go through all of Desert Palace. Curious to see where they send Scruff after they get their medallions.
And Will continues to get keys.
Yep, those are the 2 you need.
Yeah, that gives us Mimic Cave, and so we know we're going to get also that's the big chest in Logic. It really is a question, you know, what are we going to find, you know? But, yep, here goes. Sokol into Mire Shed for, I believe this was Ether Medallion. So, and I have to assume that will be the Mire play next.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything else for them at this point. Meanwhile, Farm Friends continue to stick together for a little bit. Like, they're both in Desert at the same time right now. So it's got to get done, but...
Yeah, knowing where the medallions are, I like the play. You have to make this kind of move. And there's the vanilla big key in TR. So continuing with just a little bit. Like, here's the next little piece. Keep going. And the crazy thing is here, for all we know, Will's going to be able to beat this dungeon without a Fire Rod. It's very rare. Like, we need a very specific key layout. But if Trinex isn't here, we can even beat this dungeon.
That's crazy to think about. Like, only in this mode would that ever happen. Perfect key layout, no Trinex.
So yeah, what we're looking for is, you know, first we're going to get to see Mimic Cave, but if the big chest or roller room has a small key, or both have a small key, that gives us the boss. And if Laser Bridge has a small key, like, that not totally unlikely combination is all we're really looking at to be able to clear this dungeon potentially. But we have both Sokol and WindFox into Misery Mire. Meanwhile, MrScruffNinjaTuna is working through the back of Desert Palace towards that Moldorm fight. And we have a God Mire.
Oh, that's sad. I mean, unless, you know, Sokol finds Fire Rod in the next check, you know.
And we had a compass in the big chest of Turtle Rock, and that's an Armos for TR, so we have a chance.
Fire Rod, right there. Sokol found it just there. So Sokol going straight to the back.
That is go mode for Team Kakariko Brew Crew. Team Farm Friends not far behind either. So, question is, and there is the lock for Will, so he does have to return to Misery Mire.
I mean, finding out right there and then that you're at least in go mode before you find out that you're getting kicked out of TR, not the worst of things. But that was a lot of wasted time, whereas, you know, we were watching Farm Friends, they were at least progressing that entire time towards, both of them at the same time, towards that Fire Rod, so...
And here's the interesting thing at this point. I mean, Will and Scruff are going to be into Mire at the same moment. The real advantage, so like, if you look at the crystals situation, Will has 2 crystals, Scruff has 2 crystals, Scruff has 3, right, I think?
Scruff has...
I think Scruff took down Desert.
Scruff just took down Desert, so Scruff has the 3.
Wind has 3, and then Sokol has 3. So Will is just down a crystal, not terribly far behind. So and I mean, the worst case thing here is I don't know if we see too many extra checks from our runners inside of something like Turtle Rock, but for Team Kakariko Brew Crew, they at least know kind of what the layout is and if they want to do a lot of extra checks.
Right. Yeah, they know they're going to have to go to the right side of TR to at least get a small key, potentially two.
And we do have Argus here in Mire. Just realized.
There's always a fun fight. I always forget the green goop at the top still hurts you.
Yeah, so a very local fight down here at the bottom.
Sokol takes it down with WindFox right behind.
And there is go mode for Will. So Will right behind Scruff. All four of our runners just working through Mire at this point. Sokol is the first out, though. I gotta think it's gonna be Eastern first, or Eastern Skull to TR, or some combination of that Eastern Skull play, and he is going to knock out Eastern first.
At this point, it's just whatever order you want. I'm not sure if we found any like important safeties that would be convenient to do a certain dungeon first before another one, but.
And yeah, there's some questions about, what our runners still need. WindFox does have to return to Hobo. That is a really important find. Just in case we do have a chance for Trinex in GT. We've seen a lot of Land Mode 2 be Trinex this week. So we'll see how that works out. And we'll have to get that second sword on Graveyard Ledge.
Oh, that's true. And that's a terrible place for that.
Not the worst, just from the standpoint of being able to route that in with Skullwoods, but yeah.
Yeah. It's just when Will's already a crystal behind, I believe, then just that extra time to grab that. Because grabbing Ice Rod over here, not nearly as slow. It takes like a good 30 seconds or something like that. Yeah, and not having that Master Sword does make those puffs a little bit annoying to kill. Gruff taking down the boss a little bit faster. I think actually overtaking Will in this dungeon. I think Will entered it first.
No, Scruff was a little ahead, so...
Okay.
Will might have made a little bit of time up. I'm not entirely sure. They're still roughly about even.
Yeah. Fox opting for the Skullwoods play. I don't believe we've seen what was in Skullwoods. I'm not sure if we got the compass or not. We might have. I forget where the dupe King Helmasaur was.
And I'm curious, did Scruff not take down Pod previously?
I did not know that.
I could have swore he had.
What? I'm surprised that they would have left. Did they do research? Maybe they knew that there was going to be nothing back there? No, but they have the flippers.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a brain fart. Like
yeah, I'm guessing that's just a brain fart on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A little bit of a time use.
Like the Eastern play makes sense. So maybe they were just like autopiloting. We're in go mode. Again, stress is running high in this mode.
By the way, I'll just point this out. If you're reading the chat and you see Tabby Cat saying he did, but he is a goober, Tabby and Scruff are quite good friends, so all good jests between them. So Tabby is the third member of Farm Friends, and yes, Tabby and Scruff are very, very close friends outside of Link to the Past, so all in good fun.
Yeah, and we should talk about our trackers and our restreamer. Again, thanks for tracking both to is that oh
Dark
their name
Diplomat and
Dark
Structural
Diplomat.
Mike.
Yes, thank you so much. They make this entire experience possible by clicking the buttons for us, so that whenever I miss something, I'm not completely clueless. And then, of course, Tabby for putting on the restream. Fun fact: I saw that Tabby was going to be restreaming, and she's the third member of Farm Friends, and I was like, well, I can't be the only one between the two teams not involved in some way. So I'm here
Yeah,
to
and
give
this
my
this match just came on the schedule pretty much, or in the form it is now, within the last
12 hours or
maybe,
so.
yeah, right after game one, our runners kind of were just like they got this on the schedule, and I think we had a last minute change of personnel for the race on Farm Friends side possibly. So yeah, we were not sure who was going to be racing for Farm Friends at least. So definitely, just trying to get stuff on. WindFox though, getting through Skull Woods, he still just has Hera and Turtle Rock, but he is in go mode.
Those are good 2 dungeons to have left because they're just right there on the way to Gan's Tower. Easy peasy.
And Sokol not too far behind, about to come in on that Cold Stare fight. Already has Tower of Hera done. So gonna be right in line with WindFox, honestly. We'll see if we get that Bombos medallion. Will is going with Fire Rod. Sokol breaking out the Bombos to start. So either way, not bad at the strategies. You can actually bully these Cold Stare puffs as well.
Yeah, they take damage if you punch them into the spikes, right?
Yes, they do. So a
Yeah.
really great advantage, a nice little piece of, you know, stuff you can do to make that easier. WindFox heading into Turtle Rock first, though. So all of our runners on the same equipment, really. We've gotten plenty of bottles. We've got red mail on everybody's screen except for WindFox, just because he hasn't been to Hera yet. Or, sorry, also Will hasn't been to Hera, so they will both likely get red mail soon. But we are completely in go mode.
Just an execution race at this point, and Ganon's Tower, it can go either way. Like, at least there's not going to be a King Helmasaur at the top, because that can throw people for a loop. But if there's an Ice Trinex, this race can go either way.
And, we've seen that all week. If you have not caught a race of Co-op Enemizer all week and some of the shenanigans across the board, we have seen it all. We've had, let's see, we've had spikes. We've had races where all 4 members were in GT at the same time, and a death on the GT climb has changed the result of a race.
Yeah, there was a race the other day where it was almost completely overturned, literally again because of Ice Trinex, where 2 members were in there way ahead, and the other team was just catching up because of deaths to Ice Trinex. It almost made the complete difference. So again, Enemizer, there could be wall masters at the top that one of the runners don't anticipate, and that could completely flip things around.
Those bombers really trying to mess with Sokol, but they are just missing on every account. And yeah, I don't know. I will say I think Farm Friends has a bit of a lead right now, but not so much that either team is in or out of this race. WindFox does give us a powder find on the right side of Turtle Rock.
That is useful. So I'm sure pretty much everyone's going to be grabbing that. And take whatever safeties you can get for that Gan's Tower climb, because at least on the Gan's Tower climb, there's a couple spots where there are anti-fairies that are always still going to be there pretty much. So you get some guaranteed health refills with that powder.
There we go. Will into the Helma fight. Scruff heading up to Turtle Rock. That'll be Scruff's last crystal. And Sokol is in there as well for his last crystal. So everybody is going to be in the party soon. I will be curious to see if Will can make up some time. Closest answer to Will in terms of crystal count is WindFox, and he's got a mountain climb to make up, but he has done some of Turtle Rock already.
Yeah, not the greatest parts. Like he'll get to skip the pokey key, and that's about it. He's still gonna have to do the right side of the entrance.
And a very interesting routing decision from WindFox. You know, that room on the where leading to the vanilla big key is not exactly the best. So Sokol going for traditional chain chomp strats, but Block kind of locking him out a bunch.
WindFox making the call to go outside. You can flip a coin here depending on where things are, but with Big Key being in its vanilla location, I believe it was, you typically don't want to risk skipping this chest. Looked like some Armos Knights.
So yes, question in chat, you know, how does this match affect the outcome of playoff scenarios? This is a win and you're in, okay? While Kakariko Brew Crew does have a 3-point lead right now, the tiebreaker, if Farm Friends wins this race, is in their favor. So it would be Farm Friends in with the win. So yeah, winner in, loser is done for the season, unfortunately. So really coming down to the last race here.
Yeah, I think so. As you can imagine, stress is running high for both of these teams. Funny enough, it would actually be a three-way tie because I believe there's another team with 27 points.
You might be right, and I will check to make sure because I think that is the case here.
I think it was Aga's backup dancers.
Yeah,
Also
Aga's
at
backup
27 points.
dancers is at 27 points, and it's how the tiebreakers work in this, where I believe, unfortunately, Aga's backup dancers does not have, in terms of the collective record, Aga's backup dancers was swept by Farm Friends in week 1 and split with the Brew Crew. So that sweep by Farm Friends is huge in these tiebreaker scenarios. But all 4 of our runners in Turtle Rock right now. I think Will is going to catch up with Scruff, maybe be a little bit behind. But Scruff does also have the information for the big chest and the roller room being nothing.
Yep.
So I think will still be a bit behind Scruff and have to do Turtle Rock, whereas WindFox is a little bit ahead of Sokol. Oh wait, WindFox found silvers. And tempered on Laser Bridge. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's big.
We do know there's a key on Laser Bridge, so hopefully we see all the pickups here from Team Kakariko Brew Crew, but early silvers on that first chest. There's a heart piece. Yeah, we missed those checks from Wind going over this playoff scenario. There's the tempered, so yes, all of our runners. Yep. So that is the Fox Link sprite for WindFox. Obviously, we have the Goomba for MrScruffNinjaTuna. I believe that is, what is that? The GBA or Minish link for Sokol?
Yeah, that's the Minish cap.
And then I am unfamiliar with Scruff's, or Will's, sorry.
Will's is literally just called Pink Link.
Pink Link, okay.
It's just Link, but pink.
So yeah, here we go. WindFox into Tower of Hera for his final crystal. Sokol about to get his final crystal off of this Armos fight in TR. Meanwhile, MrScruffNinjaTuna not far behind Sokol, who will also be able to enter GT. Wow, this is going to be a great finish.
Yeah,
and
this
just
is
an amazing finish to this season.
Yeah, this is coming up extremely close.
Sorry, regular season. We still have playoffs coming up.
Mm-hmm. As a reminder, this isn't a race of necessarily who finishes first. It's going to be the average time between the two runners of each team. So take Will's and Sokol's final time, average it out, compare that to Scruff and WindFox's. Whoever has the best average time between the two teams will be declared the winner.
And here we go. Sokol heading into Ganon's tower. Will heading over to Hera. So is Scruff. So both runners. Scruff will be going into GT. Will be doing Hera. Meanwhile, WindFox taking down Moldorm. He'll be entering GT. So really the difference here is Will just having to do Tower of Hera. What kind of lead will Team Farm Friends or will Sokol have in this GT route? Is it going to be enough? I am not entirely sure. Will trying to give us a Hera pot past that Beamos. And gets it. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
We did see WindFox go the vanilla route up through Hera. Will that make a big difference here?
I think that's a pretty big difference because Will's just got a very, very quick Moldorm fight now.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild finish. I honestly have no idea what we're going to see. What we do know is that it was not in Dark Magician Room. Is it in Hope Room? Small key. Small key. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and WindFox is going, I think, straight to the right. Oh, yeah, makes sense because they're both in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, Will did skip red mail. I think he has plenty of safeties at this point, and definitely is the comfort level is up there. We do have Scruff going, it looks like full to the left side. Meanwhile, WindFox heading to the compass room as well as Sokol. Remember, we are going to go off of Sokol's number for that GT big key.
This is good timing because Sokol's about to be able to tell Will whether he needs to go left or right. So
Yep. And there it is.
There it is. Will knows where to go. And right back
number
around.
10. Number 10 for the GT big key. In chat, looks like Talon guessing number 10. We did have a few other runners close to, or guests, chatters close to it, but Talon, GG with number 10. And we've got to climb. Sokol going up. WindFox about to head up as well. Is going to grab that second small key under the pot. So he has all of his keys. Our runners are all going to be in the GT climb simultaneously.
Oh boy, we've got a fun one for the end of open season. So
we cannot undersell how hyped this matchup is. Scruff about to get his GT big key. Will deciding to pick up the small key under the pot. Scruff doing the same.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sorry.
Makes sense. Yeah, you don't know what the enemy's going to be that has the small key up top.
Yeah, Will and Scruff about to begin their GT climb. Sokol into the gauntlet. WindFox is going through that spike room. A lot of little enemies that are annoying, not much spikes. Sokol just saying, screw it, we're going to bombos these. Goodbye.
Yeah, bombos all the way up. Don't even look what's in the room unless it's one of those ones that burrow. Just bomb away.
And yes, if you're curious about how the timing works for this, or for how the winner is decided, it is by average time or sum of times, not based on who finishes first or first team to be completely done. It is an average. So it looks like, Will and Scruff are roughly about the same room. Sokol has a little bit of a lead on WindFox. I can't say for sure if that's going to be it at this point, but that's how close we are. And yes, there is the question of if there is a tie. Ties do exist in co-op. We have seen them this season. We have seen a tie in the league this season over in the invitational side. That was a solo race, but ties do exist. And we have a Trinex on Landmo 2.
Okay, this is deceptively tricky because of that Medusa. That Medusa can like knock you around away from like actually nailing your fire rod and ice rod shots. Sokol seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, really nice handling of the fight so far. And I think Will must have a blue potion. We'll see if Scruff does as well. But Will is picking up that magic pot, so maybe he's also considering that kind of situation.
I mean, with half magic, that magic pot is a free medallion use, so.
Yeah. And Will, unfortunately, out of magic there. And just going to still, use that potion and still just pop it. Boom.
Just keep going, keep going.
By the way, nice use of Ether right there. Ether is a slightly quicker medallion than Bombos. So it looked like Scruff might have taken a little bit of a lead there based on having magic, but Will effectively using that Bombos or Ether medallion instead of Bombos.
3 runners all in the Trinex fight at the same time.
I have no idea. This is definitely the closest 2v2 co-op race of the season. If there's one closer, I apologize to those runners, but wow.
Yes, as chat points out, very considerate of the runners to sync up the top and the bottoms. I'm sure it was all planned.
Sokol through torches 1. WindFox going across that laser bridge into Wizrobes 2. Torches 2 for Sokol. Not terrible, but not the greatest, but gets through that spike. Nicely done.
Yep. That could have knocked him in a very bad direction. Hey, Vanilla. One thing that Sokol does need to be cognizant of is, are there wall masters up here? Because that's like the one thing that could really set him back.
But Sokol getting that refill and then getting the magic, and there's a moth.
Thank you. Well, how considerate of the seed to put at least Mothula up here.
Yeah, one of the bosses we had not seen at this point. Sokol going, wait, Moth's almost dead. Let me get rid of that. But Scruff taking a little bit of a lead on Will, as Sokol is pretty much our runner in front at this point. The difference between Sokol and Wind is greater than the difference between Scruff and Will. So if this order does stay the same, I think Brew Crew's got a
tiny lead. Tiny lead. Like, this is still like a Ganon fight, fall, or something will determine this race.
But Sokol on Aga 2. WindFox about to enter Aga 2. Scruff just getting through the Moth fight as well as Will. They are just right on top of each other, both entering this last conveyor room, both utilizing Cape Dash. Oh my gosh. Talk about, hand holding. We talk about this at the beginning of races where, 2 runners are frame for frame or screen for screen. When does that happen at the end of a race?
Yeah. Hour 28 minutes in, they're in sync. Holy jeez. That could remain the same for the Ganon fight, depending on like how confident they are with their one-on-ones.
Sokol through and into the Ganon fight. WindFox takes down Aga 2, about to get into his Ganon fight. Will and Scruff on the same phase, like they are shot for shot just about.
Sokol, I'm pretty sure Sokol has some magic safety, so just making good use of that cape just to smack Ganon.
Yeah, unfortunately not getting the 1 cycle, but should be able to get a 1 cycle for phase 2 here. Yep, utilizing cape strats here. As WindFox drops in on Ganon as well. So just a bit difference of phases 1 and 2. Unfortunately, WindFox also missing that one cycle.
Yep.
That is a very hard skill to learn and to have in your back pocket at all times. Really nice try from both runners, but neither getting it. So going to be 2s. And we have all 4 runners in Ganon.
Both Will and Scruff still frame by frame, both getting the 1-on-1.
Yeah, both going for the 1-on-1s, both utilizing cape strats. Oh my gosh. Both into phase 3. Sokol into phase 4, going with those silver arrows. And that is the 4th silver arrow for Sokol.
Sokol just has to walk across a bridge. In chat, you can put your GGs in there.
Yeah,
Sokol,
GG to Sokol with a 1:30.54 for first place today. Meanwhile, WindFox into phase 4, getting his 4th silver arrow down Ganon.
These two.
GG's to WindFox now, finishing with a 1:31.19.
GG.
And then Will and Scruff both done almost immediately right after, are going to be crossing the bridge almost at the same time. Look at those doubles.
Right before, yeah.
Yep, Scruff in the 3rd with a 1:31.33 and Will with a 1:31.35. That is going to do it for this race. Oh my gosh. I cannot undersell how great this race is. I think based on average times, I think this is a win for Brew Crew, but I don't know how all the procedures are going to work for making sure and checking all this, because this is, wow.
Yeah, there may need to be some double checking on this one. If we're going by what's in the race time GG room, this does favor Kakariko Brew Crew, but speaking of both of the teams, all of them are in here. So GG's everybody.
GG's.
GG. What just happened? That's what I want to know.
Amazing show is what just happened. That was an amazing finish to the Open League season. The main season.
Yeah, that was. I don't have words right now. I didn't even peek the race room until I was killing Agatu, and I knew Sokol was ahead of me. So I was like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good. Nobody's finished yet. And then, as the Ganon fight's going on, I'm seeing chat flying in the room there. I'm like, oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I didn't check until Ganon was exploding, so I was like, oh my gosh.
Same.
Yeah. So we already did the math in the race room. If our math is correct, Kakariko Crew did win by about 12 seconds average time.
Mm-hmm.
Amazingly close.
So they definitely got the win in this one. I know Will and I have been talking throughout the season because we saw we're in the same group. This was more like an SGL rematch of last year. And we were both looking forward to this race. And this was definitely a show. This was the match of the season for us for sure. I mean, we knew this was going to be one of our toughest weeks in general with the quality of players that all three of Farm Friends are. I'm glad it was this close, honestly, because it deserved to be.
I can't wait to make a bowl of popcorn and watch this one back.
Yeah.
And honestly, this was a true back and forth. Little things here all across the board, little routing decisions on both sides, and I can't say one route worked out better than the other, but amazing play, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was down to things like early on, Sokol having to go into pod twice because he didn't go in with the bow. Scruff had to go into Swamp House twice because he went in without the hook shot. So it was just that kind of constant back and forth. Otherwise, it was never ever clear who had a distinct advantage or lead.
Yeah, this seed was crazy linear up until you got to the mids, and then it kind of opened up. But if you and there were definite things like that, like, did you find the bow first before pod? Did you find the hook shot first before swamp? All of those things, kind of, it was, you kind of wondered if one of those was going to bite you, one of them was going to bite your opponent, etc.
Yeah, and there were some minor execution things that did make up some time, like Will, you lost some time, probably specifically the Turtle Rock and just being in there, but I think you were the only person who did Harapot out of all four.
Yeah. As I say, I knew the only thing that was over there was the red mail, which of course I never ended up getting. Probably would have made this a whole heck of a lot closer if I had. But it was, at that point, TR seemed like as good of a play as any, and I kept finding small keys, big keys, and everything like that. So I was like, well, it's going to let me keep going. I'm going to keep looking until Sokol thankfully found the fire rod.
Yep. And then GT routing did play a small part in it as well. I think that was the final thing that finally made it clear that you guys, that Kakariko Brew had some kind of advantage because Sokol was going up first, and from there we watched you and Scruff almost screen transition by screen transition the entire climb. All the way to that 2-second difference end.
I was going to say we were watching it back, at least I was, and Scruff and I were room for room. Sokol and WindFox were room for a lot of that climb. That was just crazy to watch.
Yeah, craziness. I'm still shaking. That was I don't know.
I'm sure Tabby and I are still shaking too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Having just watched that. Very cool. Do we have any thoughts? This race really speaks for itself. So, do we have any other final comments before we move forward?
GG's farm friends. That was a hell of a race.
GG.
Y'all better whoop in the brackets.
Thank you, Jesse, Slumberjack, Diplomat Mike. Thank you guys, and Tabby for the restream. Thank you all for putting on the show for everybody.
Thank you for all the work you did, all the volunteering.
But yes, that does lead us to the question, what does this mean for where we're going? So this is the last match to kind of decide the playoff scenario or the playoff picture for the Open League. Today's winner is going to be facing Dante made us join. Your first matchups for playoffs are your division. So we get a division final. So we will have the Dante made us join versus Kakariko Brew Crew coming out of this Palace of Darkness division.
Yeah, that'll be a fun match or set of matches, I guess. But looking forward to it for sure.
Holy shit!
Please don't ban us. Please don't ban us.
Oh, I think we will try to let the credits play out a little bit just so we can see some of these
final score. Yep.
Yeah, because I do see we're just about getting to the items and times for all of our runners, so I don't think we're in so much of a hurry that we need to rush that, but...
Just as some wrap-up stuff, just so everybody watching knows, across multiple speed gaming channels and this one as well, pretty much all the matches today, my understanding, are basically for who gets to be in the playoffs. So we're done with the Open League. We're determining that at least that everything's been put in place at this point. But there's a lot of invitational races today that are very important. So if you want more Zelda and more potentially intense races like this one, you've got plenty to watch today.
Yeah, just to kind of give an idea for the schedule for the rest of today, and I think they're all invitational matches. We do have one that's probably finished up over on Speed Gaming 6. But for the rest today, coming up at 4:10 right here on ALTTPR League, we have WJPT TB versus Noble Foxes. This is not a question of who makes playoffs, I believe, but is a seeding question. Later at the same time, 4:10 over on Speed Gaming 6, we do have Boomer Friendly versus New Swagga Jackson. While this does not seem to have playoff implications, it does have implications for relegation status for the Invitational League. Boomer Friendly currently on the cusp of not getting a guaranteed invite for next season. And then, of course, 5:10 today on Speed Gaming 5, we also have the Spoilers versus 2 Pearl, 2 Furious. So all really, really important games to decide that playoff picture for the invitational side, where the top 4 teams per division do get into the playoffs, as we do now see all those item collection rates. Sokol and WindFox, same item collection rate. Oh my gosh. Scruff and Will having pretty widely different collection rates.
I think that was just that little difference in Ganon's tower.
That and maybe a couple of overworld checks, I think.
Yeah.
So
not much either way.
But anything else before we close up shop today?
I just want to say GG's again to Farm Friends. I think that was a match for the ages there.
Best
Yeah.
matches I've had this entire league, I will say. I had the most fun in today's and yesterday's races.
Yeah, the whole race, Scruff and I, we were just, cracking jokes and having fun and laughing. It was great. Obviously I want to, thank my teammates, because I came into the season mostly as a free agent, and they picked me up. And it was amazing playing with Tabby and Scruff. 2 amazing players, 2 amazing people to play with. Love them both a lot.
Same. I'm proud as hell of my team. We came back from 3-4 to 10-4, and I mean we had to have a little bit of help from the rest of the division. Shout outs to Chaos Pod, but I'm proud as hell of us for not getting down and coming back and making the playoffs up with this team.
Also, huge shout out, Sokol, after your spoiler week loss, you did it freaking amazing the rest of the year.
Well, thank you. I sometimes don't feel that way, but thank you.
No. Like you bounced back real hard after that loss. Most of us watched it. Amazing job the rest of the season, dude.
I've tried to block that from my memory.
Oh no, it's back.
Yeah.
Our playoffs. Well, if nothing else, again, GG's both teams, both the Farm Friends, both the Kakariko Brew crew. As Radical Sniper said earlier, plenty more to watch today. And again, thank you to the crew for restreaming and doing the tracking for us, makes this show possible. And if nothing else, thank you, chat, for hanging out and making this a fun experience. I have nothing else. My name is Lumberjack. I'm going out. And Radical, if you'd like to close us out.
Have a good rest of your Sunday, everybody. As we said, there's a lot of Link to the Past action. Unfortunately, after this week, there's a bit of a break for the league, giving a week for the SG Live going on as well. But the Open League playoffs will begin the following week. So next Monday is the start of Open League playoffs, with the following week being the start of Invitational League playoffs. But thank you all once again for watching. Links to all of the crew and runners for today are in chat now. Have a great rest of your weekend. Goodbye.